Hi, welcome back to Fire Trail. It's Martin here. So first of all, you've got your Jones bars now nicely fitted onto your bike. You've got your angles set and everything's good. But now let's add some comfort to your bar. So let's have a think about protecting those hands while you're riding and giving you some comfort. So the first thing we need to think about is the bar grips. Now Jones give us two options of bar grip, two different materials, two different weights. The first one, which is fitted to this bike, which is the one we fit an awful lot of, is the Kraton rubber grip. Very durable, comfortable in all weathers. And the other option is the EVA foam grip. A lot lighter, slightly more shock absorbing, but a lot harder and a lot slippier when it's wet, in my opinion. So our preferred one for durability and use is the rubber, but a lot of people like the lightness of the foam grip. A little bit more shock absorption with that one. So when you've come up with your choice of grip, obviously you've got to fit them to the bar. Now the recommended method is to glue these grips to the bar for security. Whichever grip you choose, they need to be quite secure. And the recommended glue from Jones and the grip people is the 3M Super 77 adhesive spray. It has a very short working time, so you've got 3 to 4 minutes once you've got that grip in place to get it where you want it. So be sure you've got everything right before you walk away from your bike. There are other ways you can fit these grips. You can use an alcohol and spray that onto the bar itself and use that as a lubricant to slide that grip over the bar, but obviously it's not going to be so secure. So if you're standing up and pedaling, you will expect to feel a little bit of movement in those grips. The choice is yours as regards how you install the grip onto the bar, but I would say to you, bit of adhesive, but don't worry, you can take the grip off with care without destroying the grip later on if you need to remove them for any service work. So now we come to the rest of the exposed bar, which obviously you don't want to be hanging on to a metal bar. There's multiple positions to hold onto this bar. So on the flat position, you can lean forward to get some relief, or one a very comfortable position is just putting your thumbs in here and resting on top of your levers while you ride. So what we need to do is cover this up with some bar tape. But the first thing we need to think about before we put any tape onto this bar, what furniture is going to go onto the bar. For example, on this bike, we've got a light fitted into the middle, and we've also got the Salsa cradle fitted, and it braces onto the handlebar. So if you're thinking of a cradle, you're thinking of a light, or you've got a GPS mount or a bell, lay out the bar, think about where your furniture is going to be before you do your bar taping. For example, there's no point me taping the handlebar right up to the stem because this clamp system won't work on top of bar tape. So we have to make allowances either side, and we don't start our bar tape. And in this instance, with this type of cradle, it's about 25 millimeters from the edge of the clamp to where we would start our bar tape. And that allows full contact with the bar itself. And likewise at the front, when we look at the light, very cleverly Mr. Jones has put a nice lettering set there, Jones advertising his handlebar. And I would always say to people, stop your taping either side, and that will give you a few options as well. So before you tape, think about, what am I going to fit onto my handlebars? So the tools we need to install the bar tape are quite simple. I would always say to you, have a couple of different colours of normal electrical tape. The bright coloured one to mark your start and your finish point, should you not have anything to work to clamp wise, and the black bar tape to do the very end piece as extra security before it goes under the supplied bar tape. So which bar tape would you use? Well, the colour options are down to yourselves, but try and find a bar tape which is nice and flexible and offers some cushioning. Again, our preferred one we sell an awful lot of, is the Primo bar tape. Sensibly priced, plenty of tape on there to do this job. You're not going to come up short at all. And the beauty thing about it is, it's nice and thick, but it has a great ability to stretch. And when you're putting this bar tape on to keep a nice level of stretch on, especially as going around this tight angle here, is going to help you. If you buy some of the other bar tapes that are quite stiff and quite firm, you can actually break them when you're pulling them, or it's very easy to get creases and crinkles. Be going for the lighting option, but you might be somebody who wants to have an additional area of comfort, especially on the long road sections up against the wind, and you might have actually going for the Jones Gnarwhal, which is a clamp-on edition, which sits exactly where that light is, to give you another couple of hand positions so you can really get tucked down onto the bar. So again, think about what you're going to fit on your bar before you do your tape. You open your bar tape box, you basically got 2 rolls of bar tape, more than enough, as I just mentioned, to get that onto there. You've also got a couple of strips of their finishing adhesive, which comes with the bar tape, and you get a couple of end plugs as well, but these have got quite robust end plugs, and you'd also get end plugs with the Jones bars, so they're surplus to requirements for this job. Keep them for another bike. Tools you require, not a lot. Good pair of scissors, a little bit of alcohol and a clean cloth, bit of alcohol on the cloth, and all you need to do, make sure your bars are free from any oil or grease before you start. A lot of the bar tapes that you buy have some form of very light adhesive that runs down the center on the inside edge of the bar tape, and that will help give that a bit of purchase. So get rid of any excess grease on the top of the bar before you start. Now, we're lucky enough to have this cradle already mounted, but if you're desiring a cradle, I mentioned to you earlier, making aware of yourself, and you can see from the side of that clamp, if I go to 25 millimeters as a start point for my bar tape, that will give me enough room should that then need to be fitted at a later stage. And we are actually going to stop this either side of the Jones, and that gives you the options for the Gnarwhal or a center high mounted light, which is a real bonus if you've got any baggage on the front. So we take the protective film off the bar tape, discard that. Now this isn't like doing a road bar bike. You've got to have a little bit of patience because you've got a lot of threading to do. On a road bar, it's nice and open and easy access. With this, it's quite a tight access. So patience is the key. Give yourself plenty of time in a nice quiet environment. Now, which way we wrap this bar tape is quite critical, especially along this edge. We have to think about when we're riding the bike itself, we're going to be putting a lot of effort this way. So if we wrap the bar tape backwards, we're actually going to start to loosen off our wrap as we roll forwards. So what we need to do is wrap the tape in the direction of where we're likely to move our hands. So think about a twist grip. Just think about that as a twist grip. So we're actually going to roll that in the direction we're more likely to rotate our hands. We can see the backing on the back of the bar tape, and there's a small section of adhesive that runs through the center of the bar tape here, and that's why we've cleaned that bar off. So, start time. If we get the end of this bar tape, we know we're going to stop that 25 mil in. I'm not going to put that flat. I'm going to turn that in slightly at an angle, and I'm going to turn that, I'm showing you that here, so I'm actually going to tip that in like that, but I'm going to do that right underneath, so it's taping in. So my first wrap over basically is going to come and cover this end and secure it to the bar quite firmly. That will avoid me having to use extra tape to hold this down. Now the idea is to keep a steady, firm pressure, but it takes a few wraps for this to start to hold. So with my finger in place, nice tension on here. And I'm going to bring that round now and continue that wrap. And it's now covered that tail I've got, and you can see here on this side, the excess tape I've just had leaning over is going to only get caught under the next wrap. So I've no need to put sticky tape round here at this point. Holding this in place now, I'm now going to come round square, I'm going to bring it up, and this is where you need your patience because you've now got to pull all that through the hole. If you're on a clean floor, a clean environment, don't worry about losing all the adhesive protection. So the next wrap's going to be slightly halfway. So I'm going to bring this edge to about halfway, just under halfway. Now the other good thing about this bar tape is the patination in the bar tape. We can use that as a guide to how much of the tape we're actually covering up. So we come over to that way now. And as I start this now, I've gone to halfway over. Continuing, look, nice pressure. See how much flexibility is actually in this tape. We can use that to our advantage. So we're not all saggy underneath and it's baggy, and it's going to be a firm, supportive grip. So I come round again, and it's just keep repeating that process, wrap after wrap, keeping tension underneath it, grabbing it with your hand, and again, we're back to the threading operation. Take your time, bring it through, and off we come. Back again, half over. Now I'm going fully half over. You can see we've got a center cross in here. I'm coming over there. Now that's now going to set our wrap. So we're just going to keep going now. Wrap. After wrap. And you can see what I mean. If I work this way with my hand while I'm riding, so I'm up on the bars, I'm relaxing, I'm turning this bar tape in the same direction as I'm wrapping it. So if we had it round the other way and we're doing a lot of action in this direction, we're likely to loosen it over time. It won't loosen straight away, but over time it's likely to loosen. And again, off we go again. Keeping tension all the time. Now as the bar gets thinner, as you can see here, it's quite a fat bar. As that gets thinner, just keep an eye of your tension on your bar tape. Just increase it, a little bit of extra pull, just as we start to thin off. We're going to keep going all the way up to this weld. So bear with me. All the time, tension. Now obviously if I went really mad and pulled that really, really hard, it's going to break. So just enough. Again, it's quite a forgiving bar tape, so you can get away with an awful lot with this bar tape. Okay. So I've got us up, right up to that weld there. And now we're just going to stop it there. Okay, so now we need to go from taping this way and now to coming along here. So if we can cover up as much of this area as we can, we're going to offer some comfort to your hand if you're in that area. So I've brought that round now. We've come up to the edge of the weld, and now our next wrap is going to be up, and we're going to distort the bar tape into that corner, and we're going to thread it through into there. So I've now come across the face of that bar tape. So we've come across now, and we're now heading down on the brake lever side. We're now going to come up and bring it up through the brake lever side, bringing it in tight, and we're covering that weld up. The idea is when we've got this weld, if we don't cover that up, a lot of people just tape here and just tape here, which is fine. But when you've got that weld here and you've got your hand in there in that relaxed position, it's nice to have this double bit of bar tape just sat over the top to give you some cushioning. So now all I need to do now is continue in the same manner that I came along here by wrapping half. So going what we call half lap. So round, heading over to here, through the hole again. So this time, so now I'm going to put some extra tension on here. I'm going to move it over a little bit, put some extra tension on, because I now want to come up and over here. while you're doing your bar taping, always have a look underneath to make sure you've not got a really big slack lump. If you've not quite got your tension right, you'll find you might have a little bit of a lump under here. And when you get to this point, you don't want to find it right back here, otherwise you've got to undo it again. Now all I'm going to do is continue taking my time and threading this along. So I'm now getting very close to where I want to finish. So I'm going to finish just inside the Jones badge. Just going to hold that roughly in position. We'll move on to the next bit. Because I want to finish here at the Jones badge, what I want to try and do is make allowances for 2 pieces of tape. Now, whether you want to cover the word up Jones or not is entirely up to you. But as we mentioned earlier in the video, it will give you quite a bit of scope to fit some furniture on there should you want something extra, a light, a Gnarwhal or whatever. So you can see the edge of the Jones here. We've got to make allowances for a bit of tape that wide. So we're gonna say right over here, so we're at this area here, so I'm going to chop the bar tape off. I'm going to look how I finish this. So I would like my tail end to be underneath the bar. So what we're going to do first of all, I'm going to take a little bit more off. And now I'm going to cut an angle onto the bar tape. Now when I'm holding the bar tape, the waist is on the edge, inside edge, and I'm calling the inside edge the one that's going to be next to the Jones. Where my thumb is going to be the wide bit. So I'm going to do this in 2 stages because I can always keep cutting a bit more off, but if I go too far I can't add in any more back on. So the first bit I'm going to do is cut an angle. And as I bring that back round, that angle here that I've cut, I'm going to make that a little bit longer. I'm going to do this from the back this time. To make that a longer cut. And this bit here will be my finished edge. So as I come through, bringing that nice and tight, and I'm keeping it over at that angle now. This is going to be my finished edge, like that. So in the direction I've taped it, I've now got to catch some normal electrical insulating tape. Just to catch over the top of that. So that's now secured the end of our bar tape. We now come to the bit of bar tape that's been provided to us. So I'm going to look at that. They want to go in the same direction as we've wound the bar tape. And we're just going to look at where the end finishes. So I don't want that flappy end at the top. So I'm going to position that. So that sits under there, and if I estimate that that goes all the way around, and then that will finish, and I can finish that underneath. Just do one side. Holding the backing, bringing that round, working it onto the bar tape each time, covering up the insulation tape I've put on. Now carefully peel the backing off. Keep hold of something to keep hold of. Following the same line, and now I can finish that. So that's done full 2 wraps, slight angle on my cut to give us more of an edge. Very carefully then. Now we're lucky today because it's a warm day. If you're doing this on a cold autumn or winter's morning, best do this indoors. And that's your bar tape. So we've gone from here, transitioned over here, so we've given good padding and good coverage all the way from this hand position to that hand position and all the way up to there. We've left enough room for the cradle, we've left enough room for the light by just leaving the Jones exposed, or we've left definitely enough room for the Gnarwhal. All you've got to do now is repeat on this side. Okay, when we've done this side, because I'm right-handed and I was working on that side of the bike, I mentioned when I was cutting my finished edge that I was holding the side that was going to be cut off. But because I'm right-handed, I'm holding this side. Remember, the side we're cutting is our finished side. Don't cut it that way, otherwise you'll have a funny line on top of your bar. Okay, so there we have the Jones H-Bar, bar taped from the area from the cradle right the way through in a continuous piece up to the letter Jones. So you've got plenty of comfortable hand positions now, including no cold spots when you've got your thumbs tucked in there. If you need to add one more comfortable position onto this bar, then Jones actually do what they call the Gnarwhal. It takes the place, it will sit right in the middle of the bar where this light is particularly fitted. So when you're on those long road sections or you're up against a headwind, you can rest your arms on this bar tape and hold on to that section and get really tucked down to give yourself a bit of ease. Hope you found that useful, and see you soon.